How many people have tried to touch your hair? Introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Ren and I am a freelance teacher here in Korea.
I think a lot of people are always really curious what it's like to be a foreigner in Korea, and she obviously has a different perspective. Oh wait, where are you from?
Oh, where am I from? I'm from Texas in the US.
And what brought you here to Korea?
So what first brought me was study. I had met some Korean friends in college and we became really close, and they said, please come visit us in our country. And I said, how do I do that? They said, do what we're doing. Do study abroad over there. I was like, okay. So I did, and I loved it. So I came back. When I went to the study abroad office, they told me about the EPIC program. So I said, okay, well, I'll use this as an experience, you know, to see if I could possibly live and teach in Korea. So when I went, oh my gosh, I loved it. And I said, okay, let me fill out this application for EPIC. So I was supposed to get to Seoul. That was what I originally put, but the government lockdown in the US happened that year. So I couldn't get my FBI check in time for Seoul.
That's rough.
Yeah, so I ended out in the boonies in Gangwon-do.
What was that like? I mean, because clearly in Seoul there's a lot of foreigners, but in more rural parts of Korea there's not so many.
Yes, I was in Samcheok, which is like right on. Wait, oh my gosh, I need to do my directions. Nobody eats. Okay,
it's okay. I won't even know.
It was farming country. There were some people who did speak some English in town, like older people. So anytime I walked around, they would come up and, you know, practice their English. They were so cute, and I loved it because it was mostly old people, and I love old people.
Do you think the perception of Black people has changed over time in Korea, where I think before people might have thought they were more now what is the word I'm looking for?
Scary. Scary. I think that is the word to use, because people really tend to think we are scary. They're just really still surprisingly not used to Black people being in Korea, which there have been Black people in Korea for a long time. Yeah. So I came in 2013. That was the summer I came, and being in Seoul, no issues. No real issues. Like on the subway,
like on occasion.
On occasion, drunk
ajashi,
yeah.
Okay.
So just some issue there, but for the most part, no issues. And when I came back, and in the countryside, there were no issues at all in the countryside, none, because everyone was just like, oh, first time seeing a Black person. It's like amazing. So they were excited. Okay. I would go into Seoul on the weekend. So many different experiences, and many not good. Yeah.
What was like the worst experience you've had?
The worst experience I had was celebrating my friend's birthday here in Seoul. We were drinking and everything, and we separated. So she wanted to go somewhere. I was like, I'm liking this place, I'm gonna stay here. And I came out because she texted me to come to where she was, and I was like, okay, it's her birthday. Okay, so of course I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for her by this like street, and I was looking at the GPS of where she said to go. So I was going down this alleyway, and I was like, oh, is this right? And I see a Korean lady walking towards me. You know, she's just walking normal with her bag, and then she just stops. And she looks like this, and like I could see her lean forward and look, and then she turns around and literally starts trunking it away from me. And I'm just like looking behind me like, there's no one else but me.
It was only you.
Yeah, I was like, why the heck? And I just felt like so embarrassed. Like no one else is there, but I felt so shocked and embarrassed, and like it just made me feel really badly.
Right, like she just judged you for no reason.
Yeah.
As if you're like
and the way she like grabbed her bag like this, like I was a criminal. Yeah. And took off running.
And you're probably looking real cute. Like
I was in heels. I remember I was in heels, which broke later that night. That's probably why I remember it. Like I looked great, and I was like, what? Really?
You just feel bad.
Yeah, right? it was extremely unexpected, and something that, you know, I wish I could get out of my memory, because you know, I've had great experiences, of course, many more than that. Than the bad ones, but you can't get them out of your head.
Right, sometimes that one bad one just puts everything off sometimes. How many people have tried to touch your hair?
Staying when I was in school in Seoul, so that's when I rode the train the most, public transportation most, and it would happen all the time. All the time.
Did you just give up at the end?
I think no, because that's weird. I don't know where their hands been. And many times on the subway, they will just scoot closer to me, and then it'll just be like this, the hand. No,
they don't
asking,
even talk. They don't ask.
Nothing,
they just like
nothing. They'll start touching, and maybe they'll say, like,
is this like grown people? Not even kids. Like
not kids, grown people. No kids try to touch my hair. The only thing with my students was they said, "Oh, teacher, your skin. Why are you black here but you're white?" So that really confused my students. But I had to tell them, you know, you're the same.
Yeah.
You're the same as me. You're darker here and lighter here.
Yeah. Oh, I can't believe grown people are just trying to grab your hair in the subway.
Yeah, no, and they would rub me. Like, they would just start touching my arms. And you're so soft. Soft, 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 soft. And I'm like, I'm not a pet.
Someone just starts rubbing you on the subway.
Yeah.
That's wild. So obviously, like, people have false perceptions of black people in Korea. What are ways to, I guess, properly educate people? Because I feel like the biggest thing here is like they're just not aware that what they're doing is offensive, or like they're just, you know, they're not as like exposed. So
I think the biggest thing is kind of education throughout schooling. What's really great is that my daughter Lily has a diversity program at her kindergarten where they teach them about people from other cultures and countries.
That's
and
cool.
They, you know, have them color all the kids the different colors, you know, the different shades, so
All
they
rainbow.
know, you know, these are all equal.
Yeah.
There's no difference, so they all bleed. So yeah, it's really great.
That's
when they told me that, I was
really like
oh,
that. Yeah.
this is wonderful. Now, if all the schools had that, it would be great. And not images of black people only in Africa in like nothing but like the little grass skirts, which no.
Tribes. Black people only live in tribes.
Yeah, no.
Wow. Yeah, I know. Sometimes those pictures, like like when you would see them in school, like textbooks, you're just
Oh my
like,
gosh.
what?
They're so bad too. It's not even like, you could at least made the picture cuter, but you gave them like these huge outrageous lips, which they think we all have huge humongous lips.
Like going on dates and dating in Korea as a black person, do you think that like there's people have like expectations of you? Like I know like obviously the stereotype of American girls is that like we're loosey-goosey and XYZ. Are there any that you've experienced?
Oh yes, they always say they want to try a black girl. Try. I'm like, why do they always use this word try? Yeah, it's very frustrating because that's the only thing like it seems like they're looking for. They're not looking for serious relationships. They're looking for this experience and to go tell their friends about it.
Oh my God.
You know,
to like brag off. Like,
yeah.
Guess what I did this weekend.
Yeah, and it's very frustrating. It's very, very sad. And then also my other side is being also a black single mother. They're just like, oh, I know you have experience in this area, and I'm just like, what? And you know, so they always ask the question, well, how did you make the baby? Well, how are you able to have a kid and you're not married? And I'm just like, obviously you know how.
Yeah, they're just trying to incite an answer. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm just like, this is ridiculous.
I know my friend, she says that she gets a lot of comments about how like they think she's too thick and that they're not, you know, they always are like, you should lose weight.
Oh,
you should
yeah.
lose weight. And do you get that a lot as well?
Actually, I surprisingly don't get that very much. Like when we meet in person, they'll say like, oh, you don't look as big as I expected. So they expected me to be bigger, which is surprising because I know my thighs are thick. So I'm like, thank you. On the dating site, you get the comments. Like people will literally click you just to say hateful things, call you a pig, you know, call you a fat cow.
Oh my God.
You know,
Like just to message you?
just to message you. They will match you just to be cruel.
Oh my God.
So yeah, it's always fun.
I'm sorry. What? Do you think, I feel like obviously there's that whole sense of like white privilege and having that different experience, do you think it's harder to be a black person in Korea versus like other ethnicities, other foreign ethnicities? Obviously you can't speak on like everyone's behalf, but your personal experience.
I would say everyone who is a brown shade of brown has a very hard experience, as well as those who look Korean, because teachers coming in, like maybe you have had that experience of where you can't get a job because they're like, oh, you look too Asian, we don't want that. We want someone who looks like they're from America. And I'm like, what does that look like? America is full of diversity, so you need a diverse teaching staff. But no, and you know, it's frustrating because there will be job ads that literally say Caucasian teacher. You know, we don't have ones that just say black teacher.
Yeah, that's true. Those don't exist.
They don't exist, and they always just really focus on white teachers because parents think that only white teachers are the good teachers. Yeah. It's this, you know, messed up ideology that we can't be darker skinned and educated. Yeah. Which is very sad.
And obviously wrong.
Yeah, obviously wrong. I have a master's degree, y'all. Okay. Oh, it's been challenging, but you know, if I don't put a picture and I just have my resume there with my master's degree, everything is kosher. Yeah. You know, people don't.
You get way more responses.
I get so many responses, and then they say, "Oh, can we get a photo?" And I send them a photo from when I was like before I had her. I'm like, okay, this is my very slim fit photo, and they're just like, oh, actually, the school only wants to hire a white teacher, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, thanks for wasting my time.
What do you think is a pro of being a black person in Korea?
Well, the pro of being a black person in Korea is
that you're a black person.
Yeah, it's because it's fabulous. No, there's no violence. That's so beautiful. Like, we don't deal with the same type of violence as in the US. Like, we're not dealing with black on black crime. We're not dealing with the you know, the other idea that we're gonna shoot somebody, you know. So even though there are people who are still afraid of black people, like that number is so much lower than the fear of black people in the States, which is really wonderful.
And I'm sure you've met, like, obviously a lot of people who are not like that lady in the alley.
Yes, of course,
very accepting of you and
yeah, I've met so many sweet people, and yeah, my Korean friend base has grown a lot over the years, and yeah, it's really wonderful. And of course, we have our own like black group where we have special events that are geared towards us, so that is also really awesome. Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I want to go. Well, thanks for joining me today, Ren.
Yes,
thanks for sharing your experience. Guys, Ren also has a channel and her socials. I'll put them all down below if you want to talk to her, ask her any questions. She's available.
I am available.
In the meantime, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yes, bye.